Good morning, this is the latest market news. I'm Uliana. Asian shares were mixed on Monday, with developments in the Ukraine weighing on global sentiment. Hong Kong Hang Seng Index fell 0.6% and Japan's Nikkei 225 eased 1.4%, while the Shanghai Composite Index rose 0.85% to buck the trend. Leaders of the G7 nations called on Russia to respect the territorial integrity of the Ukraine and said for the time being that meetings under the J8 framework that includes Moscow stand suspended. The dispute has spilled over into emerging markets on concerns of higher oil prices and possible slack in global trade if the standoff is prolonged. Last week, US stocks closed mixed with the Dow Jones Industrial Average up 0.30%, the S&P 500 index up 0.28%, while the Nasdaq 100 index declined 0.10%. Gold prices rose in Asia on Monday as tensions between the West and Russia over the Ukraine stoked risk asset buying. On the COMEX divisions of the New York Mercantile Exchange, gold futures for April delivery traded at 1,343.10 a troy ounce, up 1.63%, as the threat of military conflict in the Ukraine hovered over markets. Last week, April futures settled at $1,321.60 a troy ounce. Gold also saw support after Fed Chair Janet Yellen last week acknowledged recent weakness in US data, saying it indicates softness in the economy. In testimony to the Senate Banking Committee in Washington, Yellen said it was hard to say how much the recent soft data was due to weather and added that the bank would be attentive to signals on whether the recovery is progressing in line with expectations. An assortment of surveys for the manufacturing sector in Europe and the United States are scheduled for release today. Keep in mind that several will provide revisions to the flash estimates. US ISM Manufacturing Index 15 GMT. Last month's sharp drop in manufacturing activity looks troubling, but the prevailing wisdom is that it's still mostly about the weather. Deciding if that's true or not will take a couple of months at least, which means that the crowd will have room to overlook another weak number in today's ISM report for February. The consensus forecast sees today's PMI inching lower for February 52.3 versus 51.3 in the previous month. It was the latest market news provided by ICO FX. Goodbye.